Absolutely. You're watching Public Affairs. My name is Jeff Berkowitz, and yours isn't. Remember that during the show. But the important thing to remember is this week's guest is Pat Brady. He is the Illinois Republican Party chairman. He knows more about Illinois Republican politics and maybe national politics than any man, woman, or child in the state of Illinois, other than his wonderfully attractive, vivacious, tremendous personality, smart. I'm talking about Julie Brady, right?
That's right.
Is there anything I've said so far that you would disagree with?
Yeah, the first part about my knowledge, but not about my wife. I think that was all very nice, and thank you. And she says hello.
It's absolutely true. If you ever see Julie Brady, you should say hello, because I saw her at last, I think, at the Republican convention, which is a sad thing. I don't think I've seen her since.
Yeah, on the floor fighting with the camera there. That was fun.
On the floor, and she's excellent on the camera. She has since, in the last 2.5 years, been tutoring her husband Pat as to how to do it and how to deal with the media. And I think she's she's done a good job.
Yeah,
Pat.
no, she's.
I've seen you on
smart.
Fox. We've seen you on Fox. You're often on that Sunday morning show.
Yeah.
With Mike Flannery.
Mike and Dane.
And Dane Placco. Mm-hmm. Two good guys, both have done this show.
Yeah.
They have tried to teach me how to do it, but try as they may, I can't.
You do just fine. For those guys, Flannery
they're
and
good.
Dane, though, they've been around.
And you've been on the show a long time. I mean, you've been on there frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, Fox treats the Republican Party almost fairly, would you say? Relative to the other mainstream media. I mean, they have you on, they have John Tillman on. I don't think I've seen John Tillman from the Illinois Policy Institute, and he's good. I don't think I've seen him on other stations other than Fox.
I think, in my mind, I differentiate between the Chicago media and the national media. I think the Chicago media is very fair to all of us.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't have any complaint with any of them.
Including Channel 11?
Yeah, I think 11's been great.
Look, my good friends there, Elizabeth Brackett, who's been on the show, and Carol Marine, who hasn't been. We've been trying, but she's top notch.
Yeah, they're all
Lynn
good.
Sweet, also at the Sun-Times.
They're all good.
Mary Ann Ahern on Channel 5.
Yeah, we get caught.
Paul Mikey on Channel 7.
Yeah.
Rob Wildeboer on Chicago Public Radio.
Paul covered our fundraiser for Mike Madigan's opponent last year. I think you enjoyed that.
Oh, he did cover the fundraiser
for his Madigan's show opponent, the guy he puts up there so you won't have an opponent. We had a fundraiser for him.
Wait a second.
And Meineke covered it, and I think he had.
So Mike Madigan, Speaker Mike Madigan, had an opponent in his district, in his state rep district.
Yeah, he puts one up.
He puts one up
with an Irish surname.
And so he
runs
on in the Republican primary. You guys don't put up a candidate, so he wins, or do you put up a candidate in the Republican primary?
We try to, but I think Madigan's got an opponent in the primary this time, I think.
A real opponent in the
primary. A real
primary.
opponent, from what I understand.
But last time when he had a fake one, a plant, you're saying there was a fundraiser that you held?
Yeah, we held one.
For your guy, who wasn't really your guy.
For Madigan's guy.
And Paul Mikey came in with a camera and covered it?
Yeah.
And asked some questions?
Quite a few did, yeah. Well, the guy never showed up.
So there was a fundraiser for the guy that you held, and he never showed up?
Never showed up.
But Paul was there to cover it?
Yeah, we had a big billboard with, like the milk carton thing with, we'd like to meet this guy.
Okay, but seriously, the question I think people are asking, look, you're a former federal prosecutor. Mm-hmm. You're a former assistant state's attorney, right?
Yes.
County of Cook?
County of Cook.
Okay.
Mayor Daley.
Former colleague of, you worked there, was it with Jim Durbin?
Jim Durkin.
Excuse me, not Jim Durbin.
Jim Durkin, actually.
Freudian slip, but Jim Durkin, right?
Yeah, Jim Durkin and Tom Dart and I started.
Okay.
Same day.
And you ended up supporting, as did Jim, was like co-chairman for John McCain's campaign.
Yeah, twice.
Was it in 2000 and then in 2008? Mm-hmm. You were working on that campaign as well. You were a big McCain supporter.
Yeah, so was Julie.
But Tom Dart, not so much. You differ there.
No.
But you like Tom.
Tom
is a good guy.
Tom's a good friend of mine. He's very good friends with the president. In fact, I think Tom was instrumental in his first congressional campaign. I think Tom helped him out down there, and I think helped him. I know they went to Iowa, and they're good friends. So Tom's a good man.
You've been there as state GOP chairman now for 2.5 years.
Yeah, a little over August, yeah.
It's basically a thankless task. You have to agree, right?
No,
you get no thank. You get thanks for that?
I didn't do it to get thanks.
But agree with me, it is a thankless task. Nobody has ever pulled you over in the street and said, thank you so much, say another Republican, and pulled you over and said, Pat Brady, thank you so much for all the time that you've devoted to this, all the sacrifice of your personal time, sacrifice of your personal income, all the intensity you've put into that, and nobody has once stopped you and said, thank you, Pat Brady.
I've had plenty of people thank me, and I don't do it to be thanked, and I do it because, like all Republicans and independents that think that this state is a mess because of what the Democrats have done to it, that's why we do what I do, that's why I'm here with you. and I think it's important.
But at one point, you went on Fox and you said that Speaker Mike Madigan gets it, and I think you even said that John Cullerton gets it.
No,
Did
I
get
said
that
I
right?
was referring to one issue.
On one issue, but on that one issue,
issue.
you said they got it.
Yeah, but the rest of it they don't.
And what was that issue that
and
they
the
got?
reality is that
Because you're a fair guy, so let's be fair. Let's people know.
let's be fair. The reality is
Speaker Mike, what did Speaker Mike get, and what did John Cullerton, Senate President,
Well, let me
get?
say this. The reality is until Speaker Mike is out of power and John Cullerton is gone, the state's going to continue to be in the mess it is in, because he's had his fingerprints on everything in the last 40 years. You saw what happened here in the last
He's
few
a devoted father. You got to give him that. He's a
good for-
devoted
good for
father
him,
to
but
the
he-
Attorney General, Lisa Madigan, right?
days. Right, and that's another part of the problem.
You're a devoted father, right?
Sure, but
4
it has
kids, right?
Had nothing to do
You
with...
share that. You have that in common. You're both devoted fathers.
We don't share anything in common, because I believe that the Speaker is the problem.
You don't. Surprised.
No, I don't. And I
So
think
if Speaker Mike would hear you tell that
I'd
to
say
his,
it right
say it
to
to
his
his
face,
face?
and I'd say it to his
Even that
daughter.
one thing that you said he got it?
I said during the budget, Governor Quinn was out to lunch on his demands, but
And you said Speaker Mike got it. Let's plead
Speaker-
guilty. I mean, you're guilty or proud or something. You did say that, right?
I did say that.
Because I watched that. I never
yeah.
missed Flannery and Placco. They got you to say it,
I
or
know.
somehow you said it on Flannery and Placco, right?
This is what I will say. Until we get get Mike Madigan out of power, the state's never going to fix the problems, because everything in the state has to go through the prism of his political world.
It's only fair. I mean, he's been Speaker for almost, 3 decades?
And look how good a job he's done. Have you looked at the state lately? 49th in job creation, $80 billion
You're
unfunded
running
pension.
down the state of Illinois. Look at the great university we have, the
University of Illinois. The only thing that
You're a graduate of SIU. Isn't that a state university?
Sure, but you know what? There are a lot of good
Your
things in
wife
the
is a
state.
graduate of the University of Wisconsin. Now, she did honors. It's a good thing. She's a lawyer, right? She was trained in law. She went to the
but
OJ.
she did-
But she can't say she went to the university here in Illinois. You can. You're a proud Illinoisan, right?
I'm very proud
You don't
of
wanna
the
knock the state.
I'm not proud. I'm not knocking the state. I'm knocking the state's leadership, and I'm knocking Mike Madigan and his daughter, his absentee attorney general daughter. So no,
She's absentee?
Yeah,
Like, what do you mean?
she doesn't prosecute any corruption.
What
Tuesdays.
all of the feds are doing, and they said, please leave it alone.
No, they
you know
didn't.
that.
That's not true.
Didn't
That's
she have a
not
letter
true.
from Patrick Fitzgerald saying
in
to do
one
that?
case,
Tony Resco?
In one case,
Was that Tony Resco? Or what?
it was the
Rod Blagojevich?
one case that she was told to stand down, which can happen.
So you think Pat wanted her going after Tony Resco?
No, listen. This is how this works.
Who should she have gone after that you're saying she didn't, and that Pat
How
didn't
about
want her-
teacher for a day, pension for life? Oops, that's her dad. How about some of the real estate?
Teacher for a day what?
Pension for life, the scam that was reported in the Tribune. All of those pension
Tribune?
abuses. The
Chicago
Tribune the last
Tribune?
couple of
We
weeks.
have that here?
How about,
We never miss an opportunity to do a plug. Here's the Tribune for Sunday.
this is from a couple of weeks. Jason Grada, the
Okay, but for December 4th, the headline is 109 reports of sex crimes, just 5 convictions. But they had a story about what? Pension
abuses
abuse?
of the pension system, which
Oh, that guy who became a teacher for a day so he could get a large public pension.
For life.
Even though he was mostly a union member and would have had a smaller pension.
Madigan's guy.
And what was his name? Do you remember the guy's
I
name?
remember his name.
But he was Madigan's guy. And you
Madigan's
blame Mike Madigan for that.
I do. And I
but
blame
there were
Mike- how about
Republicans
the
who
sky-
voted for that, weren't there?
I don't care. It's scholarship scam. Scholarship scam?
Well,
The
each
legislative scholarship?
state legislator gets to give out how many scholarships each year?
I don't know, but it's under federal investigation. Now, the point is, we have.
Look, you're not against scholarships going to needy kids.
I'm against these
Who
legislative
best to
scholarships.
determine, other than our state legislators, Republican and Democrat, who best to do this fairly, other than our state legislators? Do you think you would do it more fairly?
It's under federal investigation. They shouldn't have them anyway.
I mean,
You know what?
they're going
Those
to
are my
friends.
tax
They're going to
dollars.
friends and family. You think
Those,
in
in
Illinois?
Yeah.
You think that would happen in Illinois?
I think it would, Joe.
I'm shocked, like the guy who found gambling in Casablanca. Right?
Yeah. Well, the point is, until we get rid of Madigan, we're going to be right where we are. And I'm not running the state down. I'm just telling you that's the reality. And
So you got a plan to get rid of Mike?
yeah, we do.
Like as the mafia, as in like rub him out?
No, as in win more seats in the House, so he's not Speaker of the House anymore.
Well, when you came in, we were just talking about this before in the show. We were trying to remember, with apologies to Adam Andrzejewski, since I once gave him a tough time because he didn't know the margins in the House and the Senate. And I'm not sure, but I'm not sure I know. So, Adam, my humble apologies. Where are you when I need you, Adam? You should be running
We need
for
to pick
office
up
sometime.
6 in both to take over.
But it was 71-47,
Yeah, it was a
not too long ago
supermajority
when
in
you
the
were there.
House, yeah.
Democrats over Republicans in the House, and in the Senate it was 37-22, right?
Something like that. We need to, but this time
That's a
around-
pretty big margin. Filibuster
margin.
proof, not filibuster
In the
proof.
House it was.
Veto proof, there's the word I wanted, in the House, and almost veto proof in this. Yeah, it was veto proof in the Senate because you only need 36 and they have 37.
Yeah, look
Veto
at the
proof
fine-
in the
look
House
at-
and the
look at-
Senate.
look at the fine job
Now,
that
you
Mike
picked-
Madigan
You
did
picked
with-
up a
with
few
all
in the
that
Senate.
control.
Now, what's the margin in the Senate now?
Oh, we need to pick up 6.
You need to pick up 6 to get the majority, so he's still got a healthy lead. Okay, probably something like 35, what?
whatever it is. But the point is, the polling we've got now, we've had, first of all, Tom, the leader in the House.
I think it's 35-24. Would that up to 59? Yeah, I guess it does. So if you pick up 6, then it becomes 35 your way, right?
And then
24.
But the bigger point
35 to 34.
The bigger point is we've had a
35 to
tremendous
24,
recruiting year, and both Tom and Christine Radonio and Tom Cross, and Quinn's radioactive, and the Democrats' numbers particularly.
So you think you can pick up the majority in the Senate?
I do.
As we sit here on December 4th, a prediction coming from State GOP Chairman Bill Brady is that
Pat
he
Brady.
can get it. Yeah, I forgot. It's so easy. He's your cousin, right?
No.
Bill Brady, of
We
course.
grew up together, but no.
Bill Brady ran for governor in the state of Illinois. The problem is I haven't had Bill in here so long. I had him last year in the primary, and I've been trying to get him. He doesn't return my calls. I don't take it personally, Bill. I know you're busy. But I haven't had him so long. I confused you guys because you look so much alike. You're a little better looking. I understand.
I don't know about that either, but we grew up together. Bill's a good man.
All right, so Pat Brady, sitting here on December 4th on Public Affairs, is saying you've got, what, a 25, 50, 75% chance of winning back the state Senate, the majority. Give me a number, 25, 50, or 75%?
75.
75%. We're making news because that's a hell of a prediction.
No, that's fine.
And which specific districts will you predict we will win for you? No, I shouldn't say we, I'm fair and balanced. Which specific districts will the Republicans win to take back the majority?
Ask me after the primary. I'll tell you, because we still have primaries going on.
So you're not sure right now. You don't want to go out
I'm sure, but just ask me after the primary. I'll come back on. I'll tell you.
You'll come back?
Yep.
That's a blood oath you're making?
A blood oath.
Notwithstanding any kind of abuse or mistreatment that you incurred prior to the show?
I'm a big boy.
Which we're not going to talk about.
I'm a big boy.
Right.
I will be back.
Or during the show.
That's fine.
So the House, you're going to win the majority in the House too?
Mm-hmm. They've had a terrible recruiting.
How many seats do you have to pick up there?
6.
6 and 6. Mm-hmm. So your motto, like, what's that guy, the guy who's running for president?
He's not running anymore, Herman Cain.
No, it's suspended. He's still running.
999.
His campaign, it was 999 and you're 66. Can you give me another 6 and then we could say you're 666?
No, we don't want to do that.
Okay, you're going to go with 66.
Yeah, 66, and
okay,
and we're going to do well. Equally important.
And then in 2 years, you think you got a shot at picking up the governorship?
Yeah, we will win the governorship
in 2014.
I'm confident that
Notwithstanding that, look, to be blunt, and I got it sometimes be tough on you. You understand that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if there's a Democrat here, I'd be tough. I'd ask questions from the right. I got a Republican here. I'm obligated to ask questions from the right.
Fire away.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because anybody would say the Republican Party blew it in 2010 with a great tidal wave of going for the Republican Party across the nation. You barely picked up seats in the State House. You barely picked up seats in the State Senate. And you blew the election for governor. That means almost surely the congressional gains you made where you picked up 4 Republican seats in the state of Illinois for congressional seats, almost surely you're going to lose them right back because Mike Madigan has the redistricting plan, which is now being challenged by you and
were those your Democrat talking points? That's the Democrats'
I never talked to Democrats. I would if they would give them to me, but I just...
that's not what happened.
Look, I'm a little guy who's just sat down before the show. I spent 10 minutes trying to prepare. I know nothing about politics. Ask our regular viewers. They don't know. They turn on this show mostly to find out what's going on the girl things. That's what Berkowitz is known for, right? Girl talk.
No, come on. We want Mark Kirk won the United States Senate seat, Barack Obama's seat. The president was in here, his wife was here, Joe Biden lived here. They dumped a ton of money into that race and they lost.
They lost what?
They lost that Senate seat. That was a priority.
The Mark Kirk seat. So you won that. I'll give you that.
Big.
If you can get the Republicans statewide to vote for Mark Kirk, why couldn't you get them statewide to vote, at least in the majority, for Bill Brady, your kissing cousin from downstate?
Well, where Bill lost it was in the suburban Cook. I mean, just that.
Well, that's your job. You're out to say, Charles, you're sort of responsible for.
Sure.
I don't mean to beat up on you, Pam.
No, we'll take responsibility
not
for
we.
it. But it's not
you have to take
again.
responsibility.
I have.
What'd you do wrong?
We didn't get out the vote in the suburban Cook.
Why not? Like, what were you doing?
Well, Mark Kirk did. Well, and we helped Mark Kirk do that.
Why couldn't? What did Bill? Was it Bill's campaign? Was it Bill Brady?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on, our viewers want to give me something here.
I don't know.
But they're not going to watch the show for nothing. If you don't give me something new,
I don't know. And I don't
give
care,
me any talking
I'm
points.
worried about. I'm worried about the next race. But Mark won, and he won. That was a tough race. Dan Rutherford won. Judy Bartopinko won.
Okay, but you blew it on the governor's race, and that may cost you because if you had the governor, you could have vetoed the redistricting plan. Instead, you're sitting there fighting it out in federal court. You know that.
Money the Democrats
were you even there?
dumped.
Were you even there a week ago when I was sitting there watching this 2-day trial before the judge? Who was that judge?
Oh, the redistricting.
Was that Gottschall?
You mean the redistricting?
No, it was Lefkoe.
Yeah,
Three judge court
Indiana,
and a 7th Circuit Court judge. Mm-hmm. Were you even there? I mean, shouldn't you have been there, Pat? I mean,
why?
Well, because there were a bunch of Republicans there. There was John, who's the guy? from downstate.
Oh, Shimkus, Congressman Shimkus.
He was crying on the stand. Pat, is that any way to run a party?
John Shimkus.
Why was he crying? Did you hear about him crying?
No, John Shimkus is.
I remember what happened to Lincoln S. Had Muskie when he started crying.
John Shimkus is one of the fundamentally most decent men I've ever met in my life.
You can't cry on the stand. I mean,
John Shimkus can do whatever he wants. He is.
What about Don Manzullo? Can he do whatever he wants? Because he was there crying on the stand too.
Well, I tell you what.
Are the Republicans a bunch of crybabies? I mean, what's going on here?
I don't know.
Don, we'd like to have you on. John, Congressman Manzullo, who's been here before. He's a great guy. He came on the show. We hope you'll do it again. Congressman Shimkus, I know it's harder from coming on state. Look, just having a little fun. You know, I like you guys as much as I can like anybody and not be partisan. You understand?
Yeah, they.
Because I'm fair and balanced.
Did you watch the trial and did Shimkus bring up the fact that that district is racist out there, what they did to his district?
No, but he was crying because he said Collinsville, I think, is his hometown. And I think they carved up whatever his hometown. I think it was Collinsville.
That's Congressman Shimkus.
Yeah. Well, who did you say?
I'm sorry, Manzullo. What they did.
Well, let's go to Shimkus because that's important. Shimkus was saying, yeah, I understand that. We'll talk about the race angle too.
Yeah.
You watch this show, folks. I mean, you can't be disappointed. There's virtually no interesting topic, nationally, statewide, city, that we don't get into in a half an hour. Right? You agree, Pat?
I agree.
Is the greatest injustice in life is that I am not on network television?
I wouldn't go that far, but
it is an injustice, racial or otherwise.
We're all victims of something, right?
Anti-Semitism, nope. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There's no anti-Semitism in this country.
Hey, those 99%ers.
They had little anti-Semitism there. The whole
group.
Occupy movement, because where did the Occupy come from? It came from occupation. Who uses occupation? The people in the Democratic Party who are anti-Israel. I mean, am I right?
You know what?
Isn't that where occupation? They talk about Israel occupying Gaza and the West Bank.
I tell you what, though,
and they think that's all terrible because even though Israel said, "Okay, Gaza says there's a problem, we're going to get out," they vacated Gaza, and then of course they were told the missiles would stop and life would go on. Have the missiles stopped?
No, and our president's not doing anything to help them.
Well, our president's trying. Look, there's Barack Obama. You got to give him this.
Our president and his
Dreams from My Father: A Story of Race and Inheritance. Last time he was here, it was July. Barack was here, July 2004. He sat in that chair. And he autographed this book and said some nice things. So
you should have told him that his
you can't just say things about Barack and not. We're going to have some blowback here.
Well, you're going to get some blowback from me as Israeli because I think that's the most fundamentally important thing.
We would like it if he. I think there are. I shouldn't say we. I think there are people in the Jewish community, and who are Democrats and Republicans, would like this president to take a stronger stand in support of the ally of the United States, Israel.
Our strongest ally.
You agree with those people?
I completely agree.
Democrat or Republican? You agree with that?
That is a. We can all agree on that one.
And yet the Jewish community overwhelmingly supports him, votes Democratic. And every year people say, this is the year the Republican Party makes inroads in getting Jews to vote for them, whether it's in congressional elections, whether it's as president. And so they say it's 2012. Is it going to happen this time?
Yeah, Mark Kirk and Bob Dole here up in the 10th already have done that. And it's important that we do that.
Can you get Bob on my show? Because I haven't been able to get Bob Dole on this show since March in the primary. That would be February or March of 2011.
Sure, I'll give him a call. He's a busy guy, and he's another tremendous new.
Actually, that was February or March of 2010, because that's when the primary was. He was elected in November of 2010, so it's been almost a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Could you get Bob?
I will do my best.
Bob, we're going to be fair and balanced here. We've had one of your possible opponents, Ilya Shaiman, on in the 10th Congressional District. Mm-hmm. He's running the Democratic Party. Have you heard of Ilya? Mm-hmm. He came on the show. Brad Schneider hasn't. Why wouldn't Bob come on the show? I can't even get on the list, folks. I hate to weep and moan and whatever they call it, cry. Yeah, I don't want to mimic John and Don. I hate to do it, but I can't even get on the list. There's a media list that you can get on to get notice of events. What did I do to Bob? Bob, whatever I've done, I apologize. I mean,
Bob's pretty tough.
Never is a media member so tall as when he stoops to beg forgiveness from a politician. Or something like that. I don't know. Okay, go on. Well, I shouldn't fool around so much, but
talking about this. You know what?
We were talking about going back to the state stuff. You're going to take back the State House. You're going to take back the State Senate. You're going to take the governor's chair in 2014. You're not sure who the candidate will be.
Can I say one other thing, though?
Yeah.
Back to the Israel thing.
Yeah.
We just took the kids out to Washington, and we toured the Holocaust Museum.
Okay.
That should be mandatory for every kid as they
It's
come.
good. Does it remind the people how many people were exterminated by the Nazis?
You walk out of there and you just,
You know that 6 million people were exterminated.
yeah,
Because truthfully, I've met people here in the United States who are not, as far as I know, Nazis or citizens, and they don't seem to know that. They said, "Am I sure?"
oh my God,
So it's documented there.
it's documented. It's
Because
tastefully done.
our friend in Iran, what's his name?
Ahmadinejad.
He said he's not. It's a myth, right? The whole Nazi thing is a myth.
Just like,
And
just like his
he's now
nuclear
leader of the
capabilities.
country. And Barack, when he came in, I got to say, we're a little disappointed. Anybody who's a thinking person, has to be a little disappointed when you come in and address, what do you call it, the leader of the Republic of Iran?
Yeah.
Wasn't he talking about Ahmadinejad? Here's a guy who's a denier of the Holocaust. A
He said he wants
denier
to
that
make
Iran is trying to acquire a nuclear military capability,
He
which
said he
now
wants to make
almost
Israel
everybody
an
agrees.
ash heap.
And there was a dissenting movement live and growing in Iran in the summer of 2009, and they basically asked the United States, could you just show some support, symbolic, moral support? And what did the United States do?
Nothing.
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 That has to be, and I say this of Barack Obama, who I view media can't have friends in the political world, much as I'd like to be a friend of Pat and Julie. But we can be friendly toward you, right?
Respectful.
So much as I view Barack as a person who's been friendly to public affairs, he came on this show 6 times. We very much appreciate that. But I don't know of any way to defend those actions, do you?
Indefensible. And that poor woman that was murdered and was on the YouTube, and they did nothing. And
So that is like example A in foreign policy for you to be going after, you being the Republican Party when Barack runs for re-election.
with foreign policy, particularly something like
Iran and what's going on, and the pathetic, there's no other way than the pathetic, weak stance of the United States to support democracy and freedom and people who are putting their neck on the lines,
Right.
which Barack has given lip service to, whatever's the word, lip service. Something. Yeah, but he's really not committed, the United States. And you got to say about Bush, much as you might be critical of him, he made it clear where the United States stood. Maybe too much effort in Iraq. We could talk about that another day. But at least dissidents could look to the United States from around the world and say the United States is a supporter of freedom and democracy and tries to help people who want to be free.
Right.
And you agree with that thrust?
I agree with that because it's the Reagan shining city on a hill. People looked to us. And the thing with the president, I watched that speech when he was asked about American exceptionalism, and he said other people think they're exceptional too. To me, that was just an affront as an American.
Do you believe in American exceptionalism?
I do believe in American exceptionalism.
You don't think that makes people around the world hate us or dislike us because we think we're better than they are?
It's not what American exceptionalism means. It means that we have this system, this democracy. People govern, by them. The people govern. The people, the individual is paramount. Opportunity, natural resources, good moral code. That's what the United States is about, and that is an exceptional society. And you've been all over the world.
We have a good moral code. Other countries don't have a good moral code.
No, but I'm saying that's one. Other countries do too, but that's one component of our exceptionalism.
Do you know why I think America is exceptional? And I could say that without taking sides.
Sure.
I think the most important reason why America is exceptional is there is no other country on this earth. And what do we have? 200 more? I don't know. 200 more countries now. I don't know how many.
I think it's 194.
194. There's no other country on this earth where you can say they have something like what it means to be an American in the sense. Look, I don't know what you are, Pat. Sometimes people say what I am, and I say I'm an American.
Right.
And Pat, I think you're an American.
I
think your wife Julie is an American. I think the people who work here, Matt Nathan operating that camera, I think he's an American. He may have a different heritage and a different ancestry. Jarrett Nathan working over there, slaving on this show and helping make this a good show for the last 2 years, along with his son Jarrett, probably wouldn't have a show without those two guys. He's a good American. I don't think he'd say, "Oh, I'm a good." I don't know whether he's a good British person, Australian, whatever his ancestry is. He is an American.
I agree, and my kids bring that up. Where I'm Irish, and talk about it. And I go, "No, you're an American, and your grandparents were from Ireland, and that's great, and we're proud of them. But you are an American."
And Kia Ford, who directs many of these shows now, and has really contributed, a major contributor for our show. She's an American. She may be an African American, but basically she is an American. She has fought for her country. She has done anything she could for her country, but she's, at the end of the day, and I don't know if she'd take exception to this, she is an African American, but basically she's an American. In the same sense that you, Pat Brady, are an American. I may be a Jewish American, you may be Christian, whatever, but you're an American, she's an American, I'm an American, okay?
No, and I agree completely, and that's the whole point. And I do believe, though, that the ability to say that and feel that and think that and speak that makes us exceptional. One
And
of the
Stephanie,
components.
working on the crew just for the last month, making this show work and possible, she's an American.
She's a Democratic American.
She means she's a Democratic because she's a Democratic Party. You've spoken with her before the show? But she's a wonderful person. and
This
she's
is part of my
American.
outreach. She's a very wonderful
You're trying to
person.
bring her over to become a member of the Republican Party.
There's no voter registration on it. I just want them to.
And Mike Coyle, who's working there, just volunteering his time, he's operating, making sure everything works well for Comcast and a number of local access, regional areas here for local access. He's an American.
Yeah, but this.
I think he would say, I have never asked Mike this, but I think he would say he's an American.
What the president's doing right now, though.
And Jay Steinberg, who's worked and made this show work for the last 2 years.
They're all great Americans. Hey,
he's a great
let
American.
me make this point, though. The president right now is running a divisive, one-side class war, one side against the other campaign, and that divides Americans, and that's not good for America. So he can't run on his record because it's abysmal. So he's going to run this divide and conquer and see if he can skate in.
Let's be fair. He's saying, let me see if I can give the best argument I could make for Brock, because he's not here, so I'm going to be a surrogate, okay?
Okay.
Now, he's not trying to divide things. He's trying to say this country is in trouble. We have a tremendous debt. You agree, $15 million national debt, right?
You know what? He added more debt in his first.
Just answer the question. I'll give you a chance to explain, but I want to get this out, and then you can explain.
National debt is a problem. Debt.
$15 million, right?
Debt. National deficit.
Deficit running now about
2.3
almost
whatever.
$4 trillion, right?
Whatever. Not quite.
No, $4 trillion is the amount we're spending as a government. The deficit, you're right, is about $2.5 trillion, maybe
So
$2.
1.3
That's the annual
trillion
rate.
there.
Somewhere between 1.8 and 2.2 is the annual rate of the deficit. which
About
means
$700 billion more than when George
we're
Bush
basically adding $2 trillion a year to our $15 million national debt.
It's less than 2. I think it's 1.2, 1.3, something like that.
Well, okay, maybe for the last few months, but who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're doing that, and our president says, but look, we have to do something about the debt, and we also have to do something about unemployment. We have to stimulate the economy. We have, he said now, a reduction in the unemployment rate from 9% to 8.6%. Most Republicans and Democrats, they have caveats, but they say that's a good thing, right? You would say, Pat Brady, it's a good thing that the unemployment rate has gone down from 9% nationally to 8.6%.
Of course, but remember the unemployment rate, the calculation there, it only includes people that are actively seeking employment. 350,000 people.
315,000 people, I think.
Threw their hands up in the air in the last month and said, I'm not going to look for a job. So the actual.
But for that, the unemployment rate either wouldn't have gone down or would have gone down by much less.
No, it's going to go back
But he
up.
still created, he would say, 130 to 150,000 or so private sector jobs.
Which is 170,000 shy of what we need every month to get to.
But the basic thing he's saying, look, to do something about the national debt, we can't allow these high-income people, billionaires and millionaires, who received large Bush tax cuts to keep them. They've gotten for a number of years, but now it's time to give back.
Do you consider $250,000 income?
But what about now? There's now proposals just to raise taxes that were given previously on people earning $1 million. Now, do you consider $1 million a rich person?
It depends on your circumstances, but that's not what
You're
they're talking about. They're
But
talking about
but there are
$250,000.
proposals. Senator Durbin has made a tax. Do you agree with Senator Durbin?
Senator Durbin,
we should raise taxes on people owning
Senator
more than
Durbin does nothing but the company line on class warfare. The problem is this: they spent too much and they borrowed too much. 860.
Are you willing to
billion.
work as
Let
a
me
Republican
finish.
with the Senator Durbin?
Let me finish. $862 billion stimulus package that was supposed to keep unemployment below 8% and create all these
Things
jobs.
were worse than they anticipated. You can understand how that might happen.
Huge failure by any.
He inherited, they would say the Democrats inherited a worse mess than they thought they were going to inherit.
Democrats can say that, but let's just bump it up in terms of public opinion. 7 in 10 think the stimulus was a failure. He loses on that. Obamacare, another $1 trillion. 7.5 in 10.
Healthcare. You would agree something has to be done about